Most people think that it takes years to get your finances in order. But what if I told you you could fix your finances in a matter of 6 months? I'm not talking about winning the lottery and no big windfall coming your way. It's entirely possible to fix your finances in a matter of 6 months. So I'm going to give you month by month things that you can do in order to fix your finances. So whether you're living paycheck to paycheck, buried in debt, or just tired of seeing no progress, then hopefully you could take something from this video and change your finances for the better. So the first month, we want to assess the big three. Now, what are the big three? We're talking housing, transportation, and food. This is where majority of everyone's money is going. So if we can get a hand on the big three, then we can definitely change our finances. So first, we want to assess our housing. Where are you living? Are you living in an area that's super expensive, or are you living in an area that's super cheap? And if you're living in an area that's super expensive, are you actually able to afford the housing that you're living in? The average American spends about 35% of their income on housing. We want to be around 28 to 30% of our money going towards our housing. So are you in that 35% of housing? Are you paying, half or close to half of your paycheck in housing? If so, then we need to find ways where we can subsidize housing or lower it. To be honest, a lot of people's problems could just be their housing. Your housing can literally make or break you. So if you're spending too much money on your housing, then you're not going to have enough money left over for the rest of your budget. The last thing that we want to be is house poor. And house poor is literally when the majority of your money is going to your house. So ask yourself, do we need to downsize? Do I need to go move in with the roommate? How can I change my housing situation so I can have more money left over at the end of the month? Now, one thing that we do is house hack. Now, house hacking is not for everybody because you end up being a landlord because you have to manage the tenants that live in your house hack. Especially starting out young, you don't need this big house. You don't need this luxury apartment, especially if it's taking up a lot of your money. So if you want to transfer your finances, you want to first take a look at your housing. And then second, we're going to take a look at our cars. What kind of car do we drive? What kind of car is in our driveway? Do we make $60K a year and we bought a $30K car? That doesn't make sense. Is our payment $600, $700, $800 a month? That might not make sense depending on how much you're making. So if you are in a tight situation, if you really need to transfer your finances, we can take a look at your car payment. You can take a look at car insurance, because if you have a newer car, a nicer car, your car insurance is going to cost more. We just went through something like that. We just bought a newer car. Our car insurance tripled because we bought this new car. We have a little car note, but then we're also paying more in car insurance. So those are things you can look at to cut in order to transform your finances. And also you got to think about gas, the maintenance, and also the maintenance that comes on housing. There's a lot of things that is wrapped up in the big three, and that's where a lot of our money is going. So if we're able to find a way to cut these costs down, find a way to subsidize these costs, then we can definitely change our finances for the better. And then food. Food is probably a lower category than the car and the housing, to be honest with you, because if you're single, if you're living by yourself, you can spend $200, $300, $400 on food a month and it might not hurt you. But how many people do we have to feed in the house? Do we spend $600, $700, $800, $1,000 on food a month? Are we going out to eat too much? You have to look at these categories and see where most of your money is going. So if a lot of your money is going to food, which is not always a necessity, especially if it's going out to eat, then maybe we need to cut that back and put that money towards debt, savings, or investing so we can truly change our finances. So look at your housing, look at your cars, and look at your food, wherever you go grocery shopping, wherever you go out to eat, and assess those first, and then see where majority of your money is going. You're going to find out that you might be paying $3,000 to $3,500 just to live in the house and drive the car that you have outside to work. To be honest, between food, transportation, and housing, it could be $4,000. We're being honest, it could be $4,000. So you want to take a look at those for the first month. And then once we take a look at the big three, we're going to create a budget. So the second month, we're going to create a budget. One of the best budgets is the 50-30-20 rule. That means 50% of your money goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and then 20% goes to savings and debt. To be honest, if we're in debt, especially high credit card debt, then we're going to need to change that 30% from our wants and put that towards our debt, because we need to get out of this debt. Credit card debt is so bad. It's literally 20, 30, 40% interest rates on these credit card debts. So we need to get out of that credit card debt as soon as possible. So if we have to sacrifice the entertainment, if we have to sacrifice to go out to eat, even the gym membership for a little bit just to get out of this credit card debt, then we need to do that. We need to transform our finances in 6 months. So we don't have a lot of time. So we need to get to it as soon as possible. But with a budget, every dollar needs to have a job. We cannot have money just floating out here. We cannot have money just going to random places. So we need to know how much money is going to our rent. We need to know how much money is going to groceries. We need to know exactly how much money is going to our bills, and then build a buffer in there for bills that aren't always fixed. Your electricity bill's not always going to be $100. It might be $150. We need to have enough money going to that bill account so we can take into account when the bills are up or when they're down. And we need to budget for saving and budget for paying off debt. So we need to pay off this debt in a year or two. We need to put that exact amount of money towards that debt so it'll be paid off by then. We need to have savings on automation. Savings should be automated. So we need to know exactly how much we're able to save a month by automating that money towards that account. Investing should be automated. Everything should be automated. So this is really when we get our finances in order, by creating a budget and giving every dollar a job. And then the third month, we're going to start or finish our emergency fund. Now, if we're in debt, we want to get at least 1 month worth of living expenses in our savings account or 2 month worth of living expenses in our savings account. But we need to have an emergency fund for when emergencies happen. This emergency fund number could be a pretty large number because we have to think, how much money a month do we need for necessities? It might be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And like I said, a lot of that's going to be built off of the big three: your car insurance, your rent, your mortgage, and your food. That's going to be a lot of money just right there. We need to build this emergency fund for if you ever lose your job or if you ever get in an accident, for anything. You never know what's going to happen. So you want to have this emergency fund in a high yield savings account. This money is not to be invested. This money is literally just to sit there for a rainy day, for when you need it the most. We want to save for short-term goals, then we're saving in a different account. We're not going to use our emergency fund for short-term goals. The emergency fund is literally there for protection. We're not throwing it in the stock market. We don't want to risk this money and lose it, and then we don't have any money for when emergency happens. Then we go back to credit cards and this whole cycle all over again. For the emergency fund, we want to just have this money set in a separate account and just hold it there and wait until an emergency happens, because an emergency is going to happen and you want to have this money there to protect you. So like I said, if you're in debt, maybe you want to have a 1 month to a 2 month emergency fund. But if you're out of debt, we need to build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. So like I said, that could be a lot of money, but we're going to start off slow. We're going to start off low, $50, $100 a month, and then slowly build up until we get that 3 to 6 month emergency fund. And then the biggest thing that comes to changing your finances is increasing your income. Now, a lot of times when people increase their income, they increase their spending. So we need to be disciplined, especially when our income goes up, to put this money in the right area. So if we're out of debt and we have raised our income, then we need to put this money towards investing, towards building our emergency fund before we really start having fun with this money. Because investing is one of the most important things you could do, especially starting off young, because you want to have enough money in your accounts for your future self. You could grow your income at your own job, ask for a raise, do overtime, pick up a side job, pick up side gigs, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates. There's all kind of different things that you could do out there to make more money. Amazon Flex is a great one. You can only cut but so much, and you really need to look at your income and look in places where you can make more money and then do right with that money. Don't use that money for vacations. Don't use that money for going out to eat. Use that money in a good way because you worked hard for it. You worked the extra hours. You put in the extra work. I would just hate to see you waste that money on things that don't really matter right now. In the 6th month, we're going to automate and lock in. We're going to automate all these things. Everything should be automation. When I say automation, I'm talking about money automatically going to certain accounts, money automatically going to certain bills. So when I say automate, I'm talking every month money is going automatically to the mortgage company and your mortgage is being paid every month. I'm talking money going automatically to a separate account where all your bills are automatically taken out of. Money is automatically being funded into that account. Automation is truly the key to building wealth. So if we're able to automate our finances, then we can definitely change our finances in a matter of 6 months. And lock in. We're going to keep these big three low as possible, and we're going to make more money. So as the big three gets low, the housing, the transportation, the food, as that gets low, our money is going to go up. We're going to live with this means, and our money's going to be up here. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We don't live in the best neighborhood. We don't live in the nicest house. But guess what? Our big three is down here. We just got a car, so it moved up a little bit. But we're going to make sure our money stays up here. So if our big three starts climbing, we need to assess what we're doing here so we can lower it and then make more money. And in that gap, right there, in that gap, that's what we're going to save and invest for our future. That's what we're going to save and put more money to our 401k. We're going to put more money to our Roth IRA because we have this nice gap between the big three and the money we're making. So in 6 months, you could be debt free, have money in bank, and have a future to look forward to. Now, by following the steps, I truly believe that you can change your finances for the better and in a matter of 6 months. Now, the keys to this, like I said, is lowering the big three. Find ways to make more money. The key to life is to live within your means. Don't live like anyone else. Spend on things that matter to you and spend in a sensible way. Don't live beyond your means. And I promise that your finances will change for the better. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And also in the comment section, let me know what you guys think about this 6-month plan and if you think it could really work. And I'll see you guys in the next video.